Good afternoon. Now, after the post-lunch session, this is an exercise diet session. Everybody we know that is now this era is basically they are basically concerned about the health, mostly the preventive health, and it is basically depend upon the how much you burn out your calorie, you maintain your health, because it has a very long-term effect, both physically, mentally, socially, as well as to prevent the chronic morbidity. But why this topic has been chosen, the AKI and exercise? Because we should not forget, exercise is good for health. Over exercise also is bad for health. So where to stop? How much exercise is actually keep our body fit? And what is the long-term effect that can lead to our system in a very devastation manner? The three important points that I want to discuss with this regarding some sprinter, which is basically the 100-meter runner, swimmer, or who is actually taking there is a high intensive resistance training. They are actually the vulnerable for kidney injury, because many of the players before starts of their event, after the starts of an event, having the microalbuminuria, they have some increased creatinine level, but still it has remain undetected. And after that, when they actually came out from the sports, they are actually starting on the CKD patient. So AKI converted into CKD because some study revealed that is the biomarker post-event is increased. So this part I will touch upon, and another important part that is called ALPE, LP. There is a new way of actually describing the exercise-induced AKI. That is mostly in the anaerobic exercise, having associated with the loin pain, but unique AKI that is occur in this case of this kind of sprinters. So we all know there is a benefit of exercise, because exercise done diligently leads to a body enhancement that make the system functional, and select the form of exercise that best suits you and get to the road to the healthy lifeline. There are different type of exercise. You can make running, cycling, yoga, swimming, and different way. You can aerobic and body weight training, swimming. But whatever we think, you have to select according to your weight, according to your comorbidity, and according to your choice. So there are two types of exercise, that is aerobic, body weighting training, swimming, running, and one can pick up from an exercise according to your interest. But right type of exercise is very important, because that lead to the ideal benefit in the long run. Too much exercise is called damage. This is a very interesting point. Many of us actually try to get the maximum benefit in the small time. So this is called high intensity resistance training. And this type of training, very small time, you can build your muscle, and also you can also gain a lot of strength. But really it is a true or beneficial? No. Because if you see, many of the patients is suffering from the rhabdomyolysis or non-myoglobinuria renal failure. This is a real story. He is a very famous athlete. He is very famous for this weightlifting. But in a very final event, he failed to lift up the fan. And when, after the event, is a dark colored urine leading to the rhabdomyolysis. Another look, that is the number of marathon runner is increased every day. Long distance runner undergone the stress in the muscle, and they are actually not maintain the formal norm. They are taking NSAID just to win this race. And if you see, age-wise, the AKI induced, the exercise induced AKI is also increased every year. And first AKI induced is actually reported in the Mayer-Beige. Then it has been pathophysiologically correlated by this Hohenstein. And Hamilton actually, they prove, is there the different AKI or it is the same AKI that actually called the rhabdomyolysis. So what is exercise-induced AKI? By definition, it is actually AKI which included, that is associated with the massive rhabdomyolysis. But some other group of AKI also, they are non-myoglobinuric, the rhabdomyolysis is not happen. So this type of AKI is called ALP, acute renal failure with severe loin pain and patchy renal ischemia after anaerobic exercise. This is actually the new term coming out. And this type of patient actually presented with some loin pain, might have some pain like a stone, fatigability. Patient may have non-oliguric, but if you see the acute kidney biomarker is increased. So they are much prone for renal failure later on. So going to the basic, what is the difference between the aerobic exercise and the anaerobic exercise? Aerobic exercise is a slow, long duration. That is called rapid walking, long distance race, marathon, mountain climbing. The type 1 muscle fiber are involved and ATP production due to the oxidation of the fatty acid and glucose. But anaerobic exercise is a rapid, short duration, and it is like sprint, short distance race, weightlifting. Only the type 2 muscle fiber are involved and stored ATP and the ATP production from the creatine phosphate and anaerobic glycolysis. It is important because which type of injury will happen lead to this, what kind of exercise you takes on. So in case of myoglobinuric acute renal failure, that is much more common, lead to the myoglobinuria, dark urine, muscular pain, electrolyte imbalance and the creatine phosphokinase. But in the non-myoglobinuric acute renal failure, it is something different. That is actually, we actually termed as LP. What is the peculiar of the LP? LP is that if the patient having a anaerobic exercise, if you do CT scan, what happens? There is a typical wedge-shaped lesion in the kidney. If you see, there is a typical wedge-shaped lesion. Typical wedge, that is called avascular area. So in that part, actually, renal ischemia is there. And this is actually the renal ischemia in the rank of arcuate artery. And what is the peculiar of this kind of AKI is that even in the complete washing of the dye, there delayed revascularization. So this is the point, that is the kidney actually involved and ultimately nephron mass is reduced and lead to the fibrosis. And biopsy revealed this is nothing but this is called the acute tubular injury. But the important is that this patient creatinine is normal, non-oliguric, incipient renal failure. You don't know the patient is actually really a renal failure. So the main pathway of etiology of this endurance exercise related renal dysfunction, that is ALP, is mostly the renal ischemia and ischemic ATN, sometimes is tubular obstruction and also the obstructive ATN and also some direct toxicity involved in the tubular injury. So why such happen in case of LP? If you see, when the dye has been given, the dye is passed to all the kidney, but some part is dye is not reaching over there. So this part is actually kind of ischemia. So after some time, after 1 hour to more than 10 hours, when all of the dyes are passed out, then actually the delayed revascularization. So that part is actually revascularized. So that part is actually ischemic for some duration. This is the peculiar characteristic of this LP. So why this happened? The pathophysiology is that part is actually the tubular obstruction in the pelvic region or arcuate region ischemia. Combinedly lead to this ischemic zone. So this is the wedge-shaped contrast enhancement shown in the LP, not any other of AKI. There is a peculiar of this exercise-induced AKI. And if you see the MRI or bone scan, that is completely cleared, that is some part is actually ischemic part and it is a delayed recovery. The same here, the ischemic part, this is ischemic part, wedge-shaped ischemic part. So first LP was described by the English soldier 1970. Then it has been pathophysiologically correlated later on. And most LP patient anaerobic exercise was involved, mainly in the soccer, swimming, running, baseball, bicycle race, physical training, marathon, weightlifting. But the most important is the short track runner. It is almost the 90% they are actually suffering from the LP. And the number of LP cases was highest in the September when the many athletics meeting and sports festivals are held. Two type of LP there is a described. There is a typical LP and the atypical LP. Typical LP where the intense anaerobic exercise is there, but atypical LP is not so much intense anaerobic exercise, but still LP like CT scan is there. Typical LP is basically we associate with the loin pain, increased level of CPK, myoglobulin, and there must be documented waist separate contrast enhanced plain CT. But atypical LP may not have such typical picture. What are the pathogenesis? Pathogenesis is that anaerobic exercise lead to the dominant damage of type 2 muscle fiber, and in the setting of the renal hyperuricemia, this is called the vasoactive substance and myoglobin oxidative stress lead to the renal ischemia. And if the pre-exposition analgesic NSAID is there, there is a combination, there is hyperuricemia and the analgesic lead to ultimately acute tubular necrosis and also the loin pain. This is actually the how the LP presented. The loin pain is basically from the vascular spasm related pain. Mostly it was misdiagnosed as a stone. Risk factor is the renal hypouricemia, exercise in presence of cold, administration of the antipyretic analgesic prior to the race, and exercise presence in the presence of dehydration. Another big event that is renal hyperuricemia, and that is exercise in the AKI. If the patient is a hereditary hyperuricemic or hyperuricemia any cause in the setting, there is a definite chance of this AKI, and AKI chance is enhanced much more. And some mutations has been demonstrated, that is URAT1, that is the much more culprit for this kind of LP. And clinical course is flu-like syndrome to start with, nausea, vomiting, loin pain, but mostly it was recoverable. And what is how it is different with this myoglobin renal failure? That is actually we are accustomed with this kind of exercise-induced AKI. In case of LP, that is exercise is not so much severe. Type of exercise is anaerobic, and there's a loin pain is severe, disproportionate. Nausea, vomiting may or may not be there. CPK may be normal, and no myoglobinuria will be there in the LP. But in case of exercise-induced AKI, that is we are much accustomed with, is actually myoglobinuric AKI. Course is basically recovery is the rule, but may require dialysis or renal replacement therapy if it is quite high and some symptoms is worsened. Treatment is depending upon the grade of kidney dysfunction, hydration must be controlled, oliguria, hyperpotassiemia, uremia may need dialysis therapy. Precautions is only if the precaution is the use of NSAID before you are starting your race or sprint. And you have to take the altered medication like opioid group of the analgesics. How will you prevent it, this LP? Sprinting and athletes meeting should be avoided if the athlete has a cold. Patient should not have NSAID. If the patient having a high temperature or humidity, must be careful. Repeated anaerobic exercise, that is the participation in the very small time, 100 meter, 200 meter, that leads to much more LP. Or water supplementation, no exercise after drinking alcohol. And if the patient is priorly renal hyperuricemic, he should be very much cautious because these candidates are the much more prone for this LP. So the take-home message is the LP frequently develops in young healthy male after repeated anaerobic exercise. The risk of LP is high in patients with the renal hyperuricemia, and in those who have a cold, take antibiotic analgesic. Loin pain is there and passes for more than week even. So you should have judge and diagnosis correctly. It is not the obstructive pain or the pain for the stone. If the CT has been done with the dye, there must be documented waste separate contrast enhancement in the bilateral kidney, and many patients have non-oliguric renal failure with a good prognosis, and dialysis therapy is performed in the severe cases. But remember that LP is different from exertional rhabdomyolysis, and that is called myoglomeric renal failure. Thank you.
Thank you, Pinaki, for an excellent talk on the new concept of LP. And as they said, anything in excess is bad. You have very correctly said that excessive anaerobic exercise might lead to acute renal injury. So these are all new concepts, and we are learning every day about different things. Now the forum is open for any queries. Yes, please do.
Excuse me, sir. But so many patients, particularly tribal community, who works hard daily as laborer, do you think that recurrent attacks of this type of acute renal injury leads to chronic renal failure? Can it happen in this scenario? Because you are seeing lots of patients, some only presenting as anemia, some hypertension, and the creatine level is about 2.5.
Yeah. This is a very good question, because in all world also this is actually looking for, because the cultivator, farmer, laborer who actually work more than 8 hours under the sun, they are most supposed to heat stroke. One. Second is that if they are dehydrated and they are not actually adequate hydration is there, so every time they are actually predisposed some kind of prerenal renal failure, and also the heat stroke, and stroke induce the renal vasodilation and ischemia, and this ultimately lead to the actually the that is the renal failure. That is ultimately we actually diagnose as CKD-EU. That is a security for unknown etiology. This is the one of the factor. And another factor that is we actually looking for after right now, that is the same patient who are they actually spreading the pesticides. They are actually the inhale these pesticides. Whether this heavy metal or some pesticides, some silica may indirectly lead to a kind of renal injury. So all of the actually the framework of the CKD-EU.
Now, what's about the cadmium and exercise? Because I got this paper. Doctor, he's a very good, toxicologist from Maharashtra, Dr. Bavaskar, who is very famous internationally. They have found that cadmium content in some of the districts in Raigad, those who are worker in the field has got a high cadmium content, as well as their renal failure is also high.
Yes.
And chronic renal failure, they are all laborers. Those who are well-to-do, they do not have developed this. But those who work, having cadmium content is high, they develop renal failure.
This is the same line, because this group of actual researchers, they are looking for not only the heavy metal, silica, cadmium, and other molecules as well. But the problem is that whether particular cadmium is actually the responsible for the renal injury or is a multifactorial. So what they actually make one guideline, any heavy metal or any toxins, any metal, any biochemicals which is supposed to be actually detrimental to the kidney, you have to measure the intrarenal level. One. Second is there is a typical inclusion bodies found in the electron microscopy. And if you found that a particular one is that is the amount is actually much more that of the cutoff value. One. Second, that inclusion body in that's documented in the electron microscopy, then we can also come to conclusion that is the actual causation effect of this renal injury. So it is very difficult. So it is a very difficult topic also, whether real silica or cadmium or some other heavy metal is really detrimental for the kidney injury or not. But now they are actually making of one frame line, who actually in the cultivating and who are the pesticider, how they expose like toxic material. So that kind of CKD, they are now categorized in a new frame. But the thing is that you have to document the inclusions body in the electron microscopy.
So I think he has cleared the subject pretty well, and this is probably a subject which needs a lot of more studies.
Yeah,
I mean,
this
because
is
lot
really,
of
because
confounding factors might be there, but for the paucity of time, we will request our next speaker.